and access to all of those centralised functions that a large operator has, and in return, we don't want anything. I think that's pretty extraordinary. And they also invested nearly £20,000 in creating a new business model where higher margin non-theatrical events could underpin the community work that we do here. And that, those costs were spent on licensing, on creation of new assets, and it is completely new enterprise that was created in order that we could reach that break-even point, in order that we could go to the council and say, right, we're in, zero subsidy, that's fine. We need 3 years because we've got to try and get this off the ground. What do you say? And they said no.
Just on that point, I think it's important to note as well that the summer of 2024, so just a few months back, Trafalgar were ready to put in £175,000 into the fabric of this building. However, if you know that you're only going to have a short lease, your lease is coming to an end, why would you invest that sort of money? Trafalgar, I'm not affiliated to them in any way, but they have played excellent. They've done the absolute best they can, and they've offered the council a phenomenal deal. However, if they don't offer a long-term lease, if they don't offer any more than a 3-year deal, why would they put this sort of money in? And we've had a few comments made over the last week of certain audience members and people who've come through the doors of this venue to say, yeah, the seats are a little bit tired, or there are a few issues with the plumbing in the toilets. But let's be honest, and I've used this example over the course of the campaign. If you were in a rented house and your bathroom failed, or you had to redo the plumbing or redo the wallpaper, you wouldn't do that if you were going to be evicted in 4 weeks' time. And so Trafalgar have got a dedication to preserve this theatre for the next 20 years or more. And I've seen it happen with venues around the country where they've invested significant amount of money when they've been given a long-term lease and ability to actually grow it over the long term. But with 9 months, 3 years, but that's a short amount of time. I will say as well that the council are responsible for the car park in this building. They've done nothing with the council. Trafalgar stumped up the money to redo the fountain, and they made the gardens nicer. They made this a nicer, welcoming place for the community. That was all Trafalgar money. That not a penny came from the council. So, to people who say that we agree with what the council is saying, that Trafalgar were made out to be the bad guy, this is not the case, and we just need to make sure that that is addressed.
I think we can go to questions. We've got two hands over here, so we'll take either one of you and then we'll go behind afterwards.
Hi, Situl Punja. I speak as a resident and a mum, and also one of the online petitioners, which thanks to Peter Kerning said that I could do as a fellow councillor as well. My daughter had her first ballet performance here at the age of 3. I want to say that, as John McDonnell has said, this is not a community a theatre just for Hayes. It has reached across the borough. I live in Ruislip. As mums groups, we come to the Beck. As children's groups, we come to the Beck. As performing arts groups in the north, they come to the Beck. This is an issue for our entire community, and it is incumbent upon our entire community to support the work that's happened here at the Beck. As a theatre goer and a passionate person of the arts, I see shows here, I come here, I don't know how many times a year. I buy family tickets here, I buy gifts for my friends and family here to come here. And we get shows that are going to cost, I'm going to see a show here in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time that I can see that is playing for one night only at His Majesty's Theatre for £120 there, and I'm watching it here for £40. That's what the Beck have done in bringing those kind of shows to here. They have also done community shows here and taken them to the West End and given our community that opportunity to be able to be shown, professional, thought about, and realise that actually we are not just an amateur theatre company here, like the Winston Churchill Hall and the Compass, which if the council think they're going to run a theatre, how are they going to compete at that level? And the other thing that I would like to raise, as a fellow councillor, Councillor Abbey and I campaigned in Useley for the saviour of Useley Recreation Ground, which was covenanted to the community in 1926. The council appropriated that community to build flats on it. And the swimming pool there, which was knocked down in 2012, they were promised a health centre. They were 2010, sorry. They were promised a health centre. They were promised a community centre. They were promised a new swimming pool. Instead, it is now going to become a block of flats with a library removed from the high street to that space. So I just want to remind people of what the council does to these buildings and how they do it, but also that this is a space, as a mum, as a resident, this is across the borough. This is not a space for just the community in its local surroundings. It is for all of us in this borough.
Just before we go, Jonathan's got a response to that.
Yeah, it's great you brought up the Winston Churchill Hall. So we've seen with the council running the Winston Churchill that actually there's been the local societies have been notified of a 30% increase in charges. So the costs amounting for a house of 150 at Compass or 350 at Winston. And quite how either of these theatres would cope with a professional touring company, I just can't imagine. I think it's prudent as well at this point to say that we're hearing from the council that they're potentially talking to other operators. Now, operators come in various different guises, and Trafalgar are possibly and probably the best ones to take this on. The only other one probably bigger than them is ATG, Ambassadors Theatre Group, who run a lot of the big #1 theatres like the Sunderland Empire and the Liverpool Empire, probably too big for them. However, there are also a number of leisure operators that run gyms and swimming pools. Some of them have been known to sniff around venues like this. However, how are these operators going to be vetted? How can the council tell us how these how they're going to vet these operators? Because those who run gyms and swimming pools lack the experience of running a theatre. How would they give assurance that they could manage bookings and have access to promoters in order to gain these new shows? And also, on the subject of new promoters and new operators, can LBH confirm they're being offered a 9-month contract at Trafalgar as well? Because the goalposts seem to be shifting on a daily basis. Finally, in relation to this topic, we want to know who from Hillingdon Council has knowledge and experience on what is required to run a theatre, because it seems that none of them do. And we have the answers and they won't listen to us.
I just want to say thank you for turning up today. I'm running such an eloquent campaign which has brought attention to something which is clearly very important to everybody here. Turning up within a week and finding out something like this has happened is a really big response. I think I'm slightly surprised at some of the rhetoric from the council in regards to demonising Trafalgar. I didn't realise the Conservatives were against private partnership. That side. I'm a mother, I live in the council, I pay council tax. I have yet to be asked any questionnaires about how I want my council tax to be spent and whether it's appropriate to shut down the theatre. It's only 4 years ago that a significant event happened and our children were told to stay at home. And they were told to stop speaking to their friends, and some of those children were in primary school and they had no way of speaking to their friends and they had no way of contacting them, and the impact of that isolation will be with us for many, many years to come. And this place is a place where our children have started to get over that and to learn how to communicate with their peers in a way that they have no previous generations have had to deal with that. I think probably the last thing that children had that kind of impact was when the children were sent to the country during the war. We can't say in enough words that how big that impact has been on our children. And when we shut theatres like this, there is nowhere for our children to go where they can be safe and looked after and cared for. So I think you're doing a brilliant job. I would, if the council leader was here, and I won't give you this question, but if you have a chance to ask him, I would appreciate that, is why do you think that we shouldn't be spending money on our theatre? It's absurd. Of course we should be. This is what our community is, a place where a community can get together. That's what a theatre is. I'm not going to ask you that question, but if you get a chance to pass it on.
Do you know what? I think it's quite important. This is being recorded, and I do think that if you have a question, just because this chap isn't here, I do think it's really important to voice it. I think there are a lot of people here that perhaps could take that question on your behalf and you know, perhaps pop that into a room.
I think the response would be just like the invisible man, silence. Speechless.
Yeah, but I would don't feel that you can't voice it because it is recorded, isn't it? So I would say that's really important. And also there are other people here like the Back the Bet campaign as well. Can I get the microphone? I'm going to come down here to this chap and then I'm going to swing round I pointed at these two people. What I would say... Okay, I'm so sorry, I don't know the difference between... Yeah.
We do. So we've had councillors speaking.
Yeah.
Our MP was absolutely wonderful. But you know, we have members of the public, and
my intention is to go round the room. What I would say... Absolutely, I will try. What I will say though is that we can't be here all evening, not least because I have a seven-year-old daughter. So what I would say is, whilst it's really impassioned what you guys are saying, I would say if we could try and keep it a little bit more concise, then we would be able to hear a few more voices left. So we're now sort of sitting at 5:35, and I would like to be looking at about 6 o'clock. Probably could go on a little bit longer, but I would love to get as many comments as possible. Steve, did you say you wanted to say it, and then we'll bring this
Just
around?
Just a very, very quick point. One of the reasons that this theatre has historically received a subsidy is because a private operator can deliver a service that is much cheaper than the council doing it themselves. So that subsidy is actually represents a saving rather than it just throwing money at something. It's it's a saving because a private company can deliver an arts and culture offer cheaper than the council could itself in this building.
Thank you. And my intention is to be brief because I do think we need to hear from the public. So my name is Councillor Stuart Mathers. I'm one of the ward councillors for where the Beck sits. And I just wanted to make really clear how it would be best to communicate some of the questions in a kind of dual-prong approach. I can go on about the impact that Beck's had for myself, but I've shared it with people. And any emails that we receive, we are working through to get back to people. But every single councillor has access to the ability to ask a question as a member of the council. They have the ability to get an answer. Now, whether it's a clear answer, it has to be truthful, but whether it's the whole truth. But what I would continue urging people to do, and I've said this on the WhatsApp group, is to contact your ward councillor first. Please, by all means, include Councillor Lavery, who's the Cabinet Member, the leader of the council, and ask them the specific questions they'd like answers to. You are also very welcome to include myself, Stuart Mathers, Camel Creek Core, and Ella Gerlich as the ward councillors here, because that's where it sits. But we should be getting answers to these questions, and the members' inquiry system that councillors can use is a clear way of doing that. It takes about 2 weeks to get an answer, as a minimum, I would say. Colleagues of mine sitting here will know some take months. But do ask your ward councillors the questions that you need to be answered, even if everybody asks the same question across all of the councillors in the borough. And those answers, ask for them to come back to you. So we can just keep pushing the council through that mechanism for information. I hope that's helpful.
Yes, that's it, yeah. And then if you could pass it on to this gentleman here, and then I'm going to come back to this lady. I promise I'm going to come over there. There's lots of hands. Bear with me, okay?
My name is Kamalpreet Kaur. I'm one of the local ward councillors. Just to let the members of the public know that as soon as it became public, we raised a members' inquiry to know exactly what is planned for the BEC so that we could respond to the public. So if we had the answers, instead of people saying things which they could think as conspiracy theories, we could give the fact to the members of the public. They haven't come back to me. One of the residents who wanted me to ask if Councillor Lavery or anyone you have been in touch to has would respond to this. He says, my son worked at the BEC as part of the technician team. He's autistic and really struggled to find work. The BEC gave him a chance and opened a huge door for him. He used to be on ESA support group. Thanks to the BEC, he is now better able to work and no longer on ESA or equivalent type of universal credit. The BEC has been a great opportunity for people with difficulties and other challenges. What is the council thinking about it? If you hear, please let him know. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Gowlick. Multiple things have been going through my mind, especially as we've been hearing people's commentary today. John made a well-found comment in relation to the fact that there were 2 theatres in the north of the borough that remain dark most of the year. And the reality is, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realise that the productions that take place in those theatres could easily be moved to here, potentially in the intervening period, along with perhaps some other work along that line. But the reality is, I work for a trade union and I deal with major corporations quite frequently. When a company wants to avoid you, they will do all they can to go silent. They will pull every stunt and every trick in the book. And the playbook that the Conservative Council have been playing here is quite deliberate. We've seen it mentioned quite clearly that various venues, businesses and facilities within the council area have been closed down over a period of time on the same basis that we're seeing the game play through here. And we cannot allow it to happen, of course. It's not just about the demonstration, it's also about the work, the lives and the individuals who are affected by this. And that needs to be humanised in the message that goes out. You need to be able to tell the story of the individuals who are working here and what the effect is on them and the community. Because the reality is, people understand what happens when something happens to somebody else. They do not understand what happens when something happens with a building. And there is a second problem, because I've seen it on the social media. There are certain apologists who are putting out false narratives that need to be challenged. Because the reality is, the Conservatives are just as good as spinning a yarn. And that cannot be allowed to happen. I am deeply concerned about what's going to happen with staffing here, and I would like to know where Trafalgar stand on that, and also what assistance is coming from the various trade unions. But I can assure you that everyone here is obviously very clearly in favour of making sure this is the primary theatre in the borough and the other theatres go dark and the work comes here. Let them build in the north, not in the south.
Just going to say one thing. So we've been overwhelmed by the support from a number of councillors on the council. I think we're just going to focus on now residents and people connected with the theatre. But thank you very much for your words.
Just before we move on to the next question, I would just answer Steve's question about staffing. At the moment, we can't do anything because we don't know what the future is. If a new operator is found, if the building stays open, our staff are protected under Transfer of Undertakings Protection and Employment legislation, which basically means that our staff will move across to a new operator. We are all employed here by this building. We're not employed by Trafalgar Entertainment, which means that, you know, there is some protection if a new operator is found. The council hasn't yet provided us with any clarity which means we haven't been able to provide any clarity to our staff, which is causing an enormous amount of concern, stress, anguish and anxiety, as I'm sure you can imagine. Trafalgar has committed to doing everything that they can to protect their employees if the building is to close, and that includes redeployment, it will include finding alternative roles across the Trafalgar group where it can. You know, it's a people-first organisation. If the venue is to close, there will be lost jobs. People will be made redundant. And we have to start those consultations reasonably soon in order to be fair to the staff that work here. We're not in a position to do that yet because Hillingdon haven't provided us with any clarity.
Well, then there is something that actually hasn't been mentioned in here, and I know I've got the backing of John McDonnell on that. There is one asset that nobody's spoken about, and I wonder how many people are aware of it. On the 8th of July, and you know, I mean, I'm here because I support what you do, and I've been a campaigner for 30 years, so I absolutely agree with what's happening. But there is one asset that nobody's talking about, and it's Harlington Hospice. Did you know that Harlington Hospice has been put up for sale? Yes. Right, well, I'm just inviting you, I'm not going to be very long, I'm just inviting you, I'm calling another public meeting. I've called one already with John McDonnell. John very kindly was on Zoom during his holidays to actually attend. I ask every single one of you to actually attend the next meeting with John at the, well, I'm sorry, it is about community asset, and Harlington Hospice is a community asset, and people are going to die, and they've got no services at all, and the money will go in the north of the borough, it will go to Michael Sobel. So I'm just asking everybody here to actually follow me and follow John, and actually go to Harlington Hospice when we call the meeting and make the same noise, because apparently the same council refused planning permission, so the council is also involved. So that is, you know, people are dying, and I'm one of them, and I would like to know that I've got a service when I'm dying. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're all getting quite impassioned. We're going to get the microphone over to these. Like, you're going to have to self-manage it. We're going to take it over here, and you're going to have to self-manage it. Okay.
I wanted to ask a question. I can't do it.
We're all getting very colourful. Can I remind you about the kindness aspect? You are all here for a united goal, okay? I just want to remind you of that. So I'm just going to pop the mic.
Chairman, who, please?
Let's be kind to the person with the microphone, okay? Because this person is doing a diligent job here. Well done. Thank you so much. Okay? I just want to remind you again, you are all here for a united goal, okay? And I appreciate that everybody has got something to say, and we will get to as many people as we can get to, okay? The shorter you are, the more concise you are, the more people will be able to speak.
Thank you. My name's Damien Sands. I first came to this building over 30 years ago, and it changed my life. As a teenager, I spent so much time here learning through the youth theatre, through summer project, through pantomime, through work experience. And I've gone on to become a theatre director. I have worked regionally in the West End, on Broadway, and all around the world. And every day I get to put into practice the skills I was lucky enough to learn in this building. On top of that, for the last 15 years, I've been chairman of the Beck Youth Theatre, and I have seen thousands and thousands of young people move through these doors and go from shy, inexperienced people who find it very difficult to talk out loud, leaving at the age of 19 as well-rounded, decent human beings with so much confidence that working in the arts has given them. Some of those people go on to have careers in the arts, whether that's on stage, backstage, theatre management, casting directors, technicians, wardrobe, the list is endless. A lot of other people go on to have successful careers in law, medicine, education. What unites all of them, the amazing life skills they have learned through this building, the importance of communication, teamwork, the ability to look for solutions to problems, to have a sense of self-worth and confidence that otherwise they didn't have. If I look at our current members, this is a set of age group that has had a very turbulent time through the last few years. And what has amazed me is that coming back from the pandemic, our membership shot through the roof. For the last 3 years, we've had over 100 members. That's 100 members between 8 and 19 who are all really eager to participate and learn in the arts. And my worry is for their future with this in the borough, because without this building, there is actually no other space that can house a group such as us, either on stage or backstage. None of the other theatres, none of the other spaces can do it. And that's also true of numerous dance schools through the area. So what I really want to know from the council is, should there be any threat to this building, what are their plans to make sure that the provision for young people and arts education, and how are they going to sustain that?
Hello, my name is Joe Pollard. I've been the comedian in the pantomime here, and I'll be returning. It'll be my 3rd year back here, so I'd like you all to come and watch that to help continue to keep this theatre going. Yeah, I know you're but what I will start out by saying is we would like answers from the council, because they made a statement that there was a possibility of building a new theatre. That was a lie, okay? We would also like an answer as to why, when they were asked to come here and face the music, they had a space, a nice comfy chair out there waiting for them. Why did they not turn up to face the music? Okay, so I will call LBH what they are: demonstrably liars and cowards. To have a group of people here that want a message to be given to you and to turn that down, that is despicable in my opinion, okay? Now, what I would like to do, I'm not going to bore you with the history of the theatre. People like Rowan Atkinson, people like John Pertwee, who got their start in places like this, okay? There's not very many places like this that exist now in the country. This is one that is still going, okay? I'm not going to bore you with that. What I will do is tell you a little bit of a story. Now, I grew up in Plymouth. There's a theatre in Plymouth called the Athenaeum, very, very similar to this one. And it's a case of history repeating itself, okay? Because the Athenaeum down in Plymouth was sold to the council. The council took it back. What did they do with it? They used it as council offices for years and years and years. And then what happened was the council, they didn't have any more use for the building. What happened to it? It got turned back into a theatre. So all of that time, when there could have been productions going on there, the council were using it as office buildings. You've got computers in your houses at home. Do it at home. You don't need our spaces to do that. These are our spaces. Now, I like to be a solutions person, okay? I don't like problems, I like solutions. And if there was, we've got the Beck Community Choir sat here, okay? And if the only option for those 3 months until they find a new backer to come in is to put a show on each week, perhaps on a Friday, perhaps on a Saturday, it could be live at the Beck. Right? It could be live at the Beck. We don't need live at the Apollo. How about live at the Beck? Because you'd all be here, wouldn't you? Yeah. Even if we had all of you people, right? Even if we had all of you people, you know, charge whatever it is for a ticket to keep it plodding along, okay? Even if it was an hour each week on a Friday, we'd all be here, right? But I guarantee you wouldn't be here. The councillors who are making the decisions on this theatre, they won't be here, would they? Now I'm gonna say one more thing before we all sort of go home. I'd like to just raise the point that we've heard from many councillors here. Right, we've heard from about 6 or 7 councillors. All of them said, "Oh, well, I can't do anything." What are you for then? Hey, if you can't pose the questions and get answers, how are we going to do it? If you can't do it, what are we supposed to do? So we need you guys as well. Thank you. And that'll be my lot. Thank you.
I just want to come back on that. Actually, the councillors that have stepped forward have been phenomenal in this campaign. We've had a number of really positive engagements with members of the council that are on our side, and I personally can't thank them enough. We have been apolitical in this campaign, but obviously politics comes into it. We have had people working behind the scenes in this council that are working damn hard for us. We need to give them the full respect they deserve, and we thank them.
Hello there, my name is Fred. I'm very proud to say, part of the community choir here. This is our home. This is what they're proposing to do away with. I'll give you a history lesson here. My friend, the councillor down there, and I remember the Hillingdon music service. They wanted to do that. What did we do? All those young people, we went outside, the council offices, and they played their instruments and they sang and they made a protest. And that's the only thing that any council is frightened of. It's us. Because we vote for them. So if you want to save this place, as we did with the music services, is to get out there and protest. And I do believe the guys are getting together tomorrow at Uxbridge Station. And if we want to save this place, because they won't listen, they'll do what they want until we stop them. I'm not saying throw yourself under the next 427 that comes up the road, but it's the voice of the people. And I know that it will, and I'm sure my councillor friend down there knows, because we had many conversations about this. So that's the way, if you want to save this place, you've got to back you guys verbally. Not violently, but verbally.
I'm mindful that this side, I've not heard from this. Is there anyone in this section over here? Could we get the microphone over into that section? I'm just impartial person here, trying to make sure that. And yeah, we've not heard from this section. We can come over there.
I will be around after this meeting for as long as is necessary to talk to anybody who has any individual questions, queries or concerns that I can help
Can I
with.
just say that we all know we want to try and save the Beck. We're all finding out lots of information about the Beck and how people think it's great, which it is great, but we need to know, where are we going from here? Because I know everyone wants to talk, but we're not getting anywhere to go. Apart from the demonstration tomorrow, what should we be doing? Because we've only got 4 minutes left. We don't need to hear that everyone wants to say this anymore. Sorry.
We actually started about 10 or 15 minutes late, so I'm very happy to take it to the full 2 hours. I don't like to be.
Is that something you can
That's not a problem. I'm happy. I've been tasked with the summary. I'm very impartial. I don't live in this borough. It's been very, but I'm hopeful at your passion. So yeah.
I just want to say on that comment, there is a limit to what we can actually do. The reason for bringing you guys here today is to express our concerns to the council. We've raised a number of questions that we haven't had any answers to at all. And your comments and your experiences are really powerful because they drive that message to the council. We need to make sure that everything that we've said today, whether it be the concerns regarding new operators, whether it be the concerns regarding the council backing or supporting this venue, or whether it's concerns about this venue being demolished, we need to get those shouted, we need to get that message loud and clear. So, in terms of the campaign and where we go forward, sure, we've got a demonstration tomorrow. Is that going to solve it overnight? No, it won't. But as we persist, as we go on and on throughout this campaign, the message is getting stronger and the support is getting bigger, and we've just got to do all our bit.
I'm Helen Williams. I've a similar question actually. I'm a doctoral researcher at Brunel University, and I know Brunel supports this campaign. I'm also a mum of 3 children who all owe their careers to the Beck Theatre. They're West End performers and technicians now. But my question is, what would you say are the main hurdles for us now to get over in order to get this campaign to be successful?
So from my point of view, I think something that we really need to try and achieve is national coverage. This is not just an issue that's local to Hayes, it is an issue that is being faced by venues up and down the country. You know, it's got a lot harder to run theatres, and they are often the first things that are cut. So I think we need national coverage. I think for this particular venue, we need to keep growing. We need to try and force Hillingdon Council back into dialogue with us. As I said before, we're getting nothing back from them. They haven't provided any clarity, they haven't responded to questions, so we need to find a way to force that.
Yeah, and just to echo that, as I say, we've got a number of questions that we need to address. The issue that we've got is that we have a building here and we don't know this. We don't know what's going to happen post the 5th of Jan. Every day that goes on is a day that there were no shows being programmed, and it's giving the council the justification to close this building. But until they actually go and come to us and speak to us and re-engage with people like Steve, re-engage with Trafalgar, they're just winding the clock down. So this is why this is so important. This is why we need to get the message out there, like Steve says, we need to get it going national. To keep this venue going, and it's not just about the Beck, this is about a systemic issue across the UK where councils are asset stripping venues and they're putting the money into new development, and we can't let it carry on.
There's one other point that I think it's worth making, and that is the people who know how to run this organisation all work in this organisation. 8 days ago, I wrote to senior officers at Hillingdon Council to say, even if you will no longer talk to Trafalgar, come and talk to me, because I know how this place works. I've been doing it for a little while, and we've got pretty good at it. I received nothing back.
My name's John Brown. I'm a resident in the Uxbridge constituency, so I hope Ian Edwards is listening to this. One thing, well done to everybody who's spoken. I haven't disagreed with anything I've heard. Fantastic, Jonathan and your team, what you're doing. I want to pay tribute to Barbara Fisher for putting the article in the Gazette. I only found her at this meeting. What would be really useful for people who've got not much time, Jonathan, is if on the, I haven't looked at the website yet, it may well be on there, if there's some actions for us to take to do. One thing we need to do is we need a concise, simple message that we can all of us, put out on social media. I will be telling all my neighbours in Colham and Cowley Ward, which is blue, Mr. Edwards, at the moment, and you used to be my councillor before you moved to more comfortable pastures. We will be telling our neighbours, and when the election comes in 2 years, and I'm not a supporter of the opposition are going to win because your blue voters are going to sit on their hands and not vote for you again. And that's the only power we have. I'm being brief, but well done to everybody.
Just to come back on that, in terms of things that you can do, you can go to the website backthebeck.org. There is a page where there is a how you can help. We urge you to continue signing the petition if you've not done it already. There is also a letter that you can customise that you can send to all your councillors and MPs. After today, we're going to take the salient point of this meeting and all the questions that we want to address and that have come out of today's meeting, and we will be publicising those, and we'll be writing to the councillors to demand answers to those questions. We'll also have a letter that you can write to all of your councillors as well and ask them the same thing.
Yeah, I'm David Brother, I'm the chair of the Hayes Town Partnership. Like John McDonnell,
I was here when this place was built. I used to work for Hillingdon Council. I actually wrote the minutes approving the building of this place 47 years ago. So I've got a long connection with the place, and my heart is in here. My contribution this evening is pick up what somebody said earlier about they only found out about it at the last minute. That is a major problem. We've got the campaign that you've got your website. Barbara's doing a good job in the local Gazette. But for anybody who lives in Hayes, I produce a weekly email news bulletin called Hayes Town News. A number of my readers are here because they read about it in Hayes Town News. Anybody who lives in Hayes who wants to sign up for it, I'll keep reporting the campaign week by week so you'll know what's going on. And if you'd like to sign up, please talk to me at the end. Thank you.
Nigel, we're going to come into the middle now.
Sorry, Chair, just like this lady here would like to say something.
Okay, cool. And then we're going to come back into the middle, and we are coming to a close now.
Hi. I know a lot of us have been talking about the youth and the diversity that the BEC has brought, and I am one of those youth that not only in the BEC Youth Theatre but also in SYP. I was in Legally Blonde this year, so I recognise a lot of faces. I know as an aspiring actress, it's very hard for people that aren't as fortunate that live in central London to have theatres like the BEC for us to learn not only on stage but backstage. And the BEC, though I don't even live here, I live in Harrow, it's home for me, and I know for so many young adults like myself, it's been a home for them as they've grown. And my question is, in an ideal world that you can keep the BEC as it is already, what are the plans in place to keep it a safe space and an open space for people like myself to learn throughout the generations? Because the BEC obviously is amazing as it is, it's old and it needs work to be done from a technical standpoint, and so even if it were kept open, I'd want to know how it would be, like things like the dressing rooms and the plumbings worked on while still keeping it a space for us to work in. Thank you.
Thank you, that's a really good question. So I think there are a couple of things to say in response to that. We and through Trafalgar have been poised to invest in this building for a number of years. Unfortunately, the short lengths of time that we've been given by way of lease extensions have prohibited us from spending on the building because we simply don't have the time to depreciate off that investment. With a long-term lease extension, we can do that. We absolutely can do that. And in terms of keeping this a safe space, look, the work that we do with our communities and with our young people, the enrichment that we provide is core to our purpose. If this building stays open, it stays open doing what it does best, and that is providing arts and culture for the communities that we serve. And it is providing access to the transformational power of arts and culture to everybody. That's a commitment, that is the core of what we do here, and that will never change. We, in recent years, have invested more and more and more and more on that side of this organisation, what we term creative learning. We created a new post for a creative learning manager when we came back from COVID, because we recognised that we needed to work harder to prevent that social isolation that we all experienced during lockdowns. So we invested in that role. We amplified our creative learning work. We introduced more and more different types of opportunity for people to engage with this building, whether it, through community choir or our International Women's Days or workshops, and we take work out into schools as well. That's become an absolutely critical function of this building and something that will never change under our management. This building exists in an area of acute deprivation. It exists in an area that is not surrounded by well-heeled traditional theatre goers. And it's surrounded by communities where the habit of popping along to the theatre 2 or 3 times a year just isn't there. So we've made a focus over the last few years to build those bridges, to welcome everybody through our doors. Even if it's for the first time, people leave here knowing that this building is for them and that they belong here. That has seen us become the most diverse commercial theatre in the UK, something that we're incredibly proud of. So, to answer your question, if we are able to stay here, we will do more. It is that simple.
Yeah, so this isn't a question, it's more an offer of support. Excuse me. So I'm a resident originally of Hayes, now in Uxbridge, but I've been coming here since I was about 8, the City Show back in the day. I've seen many bands, films, comedians, plays here. And 20 years ago, John McDonnell there was started the Hayes FM. I got a volunteer role on Hayes FM. I'm digressing, but I'm getting to, there's a point where this is of assistance. So I was on Hayes FM for a few years, went to do some work at the BBC, then started a record label, then did a load of promotions in London, made a lot of friends with bands. So basically, my offer is it 600 capacity? Yeah, so basically, I did some maths earlier, 600 capacity, £35 ticket, 21 grand. So a local band called The Ruts, punk band, I spoke to them, they're up for playing. And also there was if you want national coverage of this, I put on a show by Sleaford Mods 10 years ago. They're pretty big now, and I'm sure if I asked them, he would be ranting on your case, or for your case. And basically, I've asked the Ruts would they want to do maybe a collaboration with them live here. They said they'd love to. So if you want to get some money raised and some publicity, I'd love to help out. And my name's Darren Brooker, local resident.
Microphone through to the front, and then we'll go to this lady, and then yeah. And thank you. That sounds amazing. I might come.
Good evening. My name is Martin, and I've been coming to here for some time, but I feel very, very strongly that this Beck Theatre, this lovely, and I mean lovely theatre, should remain open for the simple reason I wrote a few notes. I'm going to be brief. I feel that about 2.5 years ago, when this theatre was closed because of the COVID pandemic, and I have the pleasure to say this, that I have recently joined the Beck Community Choir. I personally would like this theatre to stay open, and I would like to say how grateful I am to all the staff at this lovely theatre.
Whatever the outcome of this is, I would personally like to thank you for the staff and everybody else who's supported me. And my husband, who's got dementia, I've got over 70 venues from January, and I still have another 30 to go. Thank you so much, and I hope that you win the day.
Yeah, we'll do one more. Okay.
Hello there, my name's Samantha Dreeden. I don't live in Hayes anymore, but I did grow up in Hayes, and I actually went to the original Barnhill School, so I do remember that, and the gentleman mentioned Barnhill School earlier. I live in Harefield now, but I am an avid member of the Beck Theatre. I just love theatre as a whole. I don't think there's nothing more than musical theatre that gives you a buzz. It's something people don't understand with these days of society of modern technology, especially for children. Children have forgot what it's like. Children don't use their imagination anymore. Children are too busy with modern technology, they have lost that. And that is something we is very passionate about keeping, so children understand being able to express themselves, use their imagination, and as I said, that is only something you can get from live theatre. I used to be a regular member of the Beck Theatre, bossy in these hard times. Financial situations have affected everybody very hard, and your money is going into paying your bills and just to surviving. But I am a big theatre fan, and I've already looked at 2 shows already today here to book. I'm bringing my husband to see Rich Hall on Friday, and I'm also head of wellbeing at a care home in Harefield, and I do bring my residents here for the Neil Sands Christmas show. I'm a brownie leader, I'm a rainbow leader, I bring them to the pantomime. Just want to say to that lovely gentleman over there, my brownies absolutely love your pantomime and they think you are amazing. So, what a pleasure is brought. We need to keep this theatre going. There's not much around here. It is very, very important. But you're saying about fundraising. Can I just ask how much it is to keep this theatre going? What is the actual outgoing? What are we looking at?
It's a really good question. So, realistically, look, we benefit currently from having centralised support that comes at no cost to us. So Trafalgar has a kind of, for instance, marketing teams and ticketing teams that aren't based in this building and that are paid for from other businesses. So we benefit from that model without incurring cost. There is a model whereby we can run as a standalone, but it would require significant investment to start with. We're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds in order to deliver a model that is sustainable. I think there is one, and if anybody wants to talk more about, or in more detail, about what a standalone financial operation would look like, I'm very, very happy to have that conversation. I do think it is possible, and I think there is, a potential future without a large-scale operator, but it would require significant fundraising.
Well, as you're saying, if this, as I said, the gentleman looked at some pantomimes, like they said, if people did a show every week, let's approach people, let's approach celebrities of appeared here. Would they donate their services for some fundraising evenings? We do a lot of stand-up here. My husband's come to see a lot of stand-up here. Let's have a stand-up here. You can get Rich Hall in, Lee Mack in. Let's get them people in that have appeared here. See if they can donate some services for free. And if you get them figureheads behind, you'll get more of a campaign. If people, celebrities people know, get behind these campaigns, you will get the public you need. People take note of people that are famous. Ant and Dec get on that stage, I can guarantee you will get the support you need. You need to get the celebrities involved, then you will get the support you need. You will get the publicity you need.
Yeah, we would also need Hillingdon to come back to the table.
We're gonna, thank you very much. We're not gonna take any more questions. I feel like I would like to just give a little bit of space to Peter and say thank you very much for filling the space, of which there is a distinct lack of a certain person that should be here. So do you have anything that you'd like to finish up with?
Yes, thanks. I mean, first of all, thank you for sort of indulging me on the stage. It's totally by surprise. I aim to be in the audience listening to everybody else. I'd like to say it's a huge shame that there is nobody here from the Council's administration, not only to answer the questions, but also to listen to the people that matter, and that's you guys. I would like to pick up on just a couple of things. The comments about the councillors here, what are we doing? What's our purpose? Being in opposition is awful. Being in opposition, you are treated, as the saying goes, like mushrooms. Not only are you sort of kept in the dark, something else happens to you as well, which is quite nasty. So for us to get information is incredibly difficult, and that is why it is really important for the campaign to remain in the heart of the community. This is a community campaign to save this community facility. As local politicians, we will help that. We will do what we can at the Civic Centre to help, but it's got to be the community that fights, because as the gentleman said over there, these are voters, and that's what the politicians will look at. They will look at their voters. If they've got a petition with more signatures than the number of people that voted for them, that focuses their mind. So yeah, you know, we are here to help, but we can't achieve things politically on our own. It needs to be the community fighting with us supporting you as a community. So that's just what I say. You can put in freedom of information requests as members of the public, which would be a good way to get to the decision makers. But the council is run by 7 people in the cabinet. They are the decision makers. Every other councillor is a scrutineer. And when you're in opposition, the chance to scrutinise what happens in that core of 7 cabinet members is virtually non-existent. As I say, I learnt about this through a friend who heard a rumour about the Beck closing. I had no idea until I had that. And as I say, we will do everything we can to support the campaign, but it must be a community campaign, because the administration will listen to the community. They won't listen to another set of politicians that are on the opposition. That's just the way politics works, I'm afraid.
Thank you very much for that. We've got on the website, again, I've mentioned it before, on how you can help. There are links to the freedom of information request that we would like you, if possible, to be able to share in emails to the councillors, and we will update them over the course of the weekend. I just want to say that in the interest of GDPR, we cannot actually share our petition to our councillors. However, I've got it here, so if any of them do want to have a look at it, I can't let you take it away, but we've got 5,500 names in here, so I implore you to come and
So do we please have a paper version as well for those who are wonderful online like me, dyslexic?
come and see us at the end, we'll take your details.
Thank you.
So it's my job to conclude today. As I said to you before, I live in Hampton Court. It was a shortish with the traffic lights car journey to come over to your borough and support you today. I am an impartial person. I came here today just to chair your activities. I know that we're here today under sad circumstances, uncertain of a future of this particular venue, but I'm full of hope actually for you, because there are so many impassioned people that we heard from today. There was a few things that I wanted to highlight. Steve mentioned of some protections on this site that would make it terribly awkward for anybody to start doing anything. So please be more confident at the fact that you do have time. But what I have overwhelmingly heard today is that these campaigns and these 7 humans that apparently hold all of the decisions certainly need to be asked questions. I think that writing letters is a really good way of doing it. People can't ignore it. Or emails, you can do it in the old-fashioned way if you want to. I think that what Jonathan is doing with your Back the Beck campaign, and I know that it's more than just Jonathan. Jonathan is the face of a huge campaign. If you have capacity, join them, and I think that you can do amazing things with that. I'm really in awe. It's been my pleasure to be here to listen to you, and you are all so impassioned, and my heart and my spirit is with you. You've got an MP that has basically just said he's going to sleep here, if that, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm considering moving. Do you see what I mean? So that's what it is. What I will end with, because I'm here as the co-chair of the Association of British Theatre Technicians, it's been my honour to be here to chair this for you impartially. But what I will say, as the Association of British Theatre Technicians, all of my technician friends across the country, our venue's closed for a long time, and lots of people have talked about that. Now, we had to close for safety reasons, and that was absolutely fine, and we went through a torrid time. But what we don't want to do is to see a venue closed for no reason at all. So I send you all my love and luck with this process. Luck is not enough, you need to participate. Steve has very kindly said that the building can stay open, the conversations are here. I have to leave with my 7-year-old, but what I would suggest is you've got really exciting things happening in this room, not least with that beautiful performance that, you know, potentially is going to happen for some fundraising. So I wish you all good luck. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being kind. I know it got impassioned, but thank you very much, and I wish you all the best with this campaign.
I'd just like to say thank you to Mig as well, who's been fantastic. We actually asked Mig about 2 days ago. This campaign has gone mad in the last week, and we had very little notice to give her, but bless her, she's come here and she's been fantastic, so thank you.